Yeah, there are some weird stories that go on recruiting trips in college football, especially now with NIL being involved, academic eligibility, and of course, the COVID-19 year really did a damper on how you're able to bring in players. And there's a lot of interesting stories that we can go into, but there is none that probably matches what's going on with Jacory Croskey-Merritt. And now he's going back to Arizona, but his pathway to Tucson is actually baffling. And I want to go ahead and discuss it. I also want to talk about what he brings to Arizona's offense. But real quickly, my name is Cole Thompson. I talk college football daily. So if this is the type of content you enjoy, make sure that you hit the subscribe button and the ring notification. That way you don't miss a single episode of Just Saying It. Make sure you're following me on all the social media platforms, TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, at Mr. Cole Thompson. Tell your friends, family, mortal enemies, best of bros, Big 12 faithful, Arizona fans, really college football fans in general about this channel, because we're on the race to become the #1 YouTube show talking about our favorite sport. But more importantly, I want to be the #1 college football community here on YouTube. And if you have a question that you want added into the Mailbag Monday, you want us a one-off video, go ahead and email me, ColeThompsonWriting@gmail.com, or slide the DMs on Twitter. This is such a fun story. It's also baffling because if you actually are like, how is this possible? And then you remember that COVID-19 did a huge damper on everything. So Jacory Croskey-Merritt at one point was committed to Arizona. And then there was rumors that he was going to Ole Miss. And he even posted on his social media page, I'm going to play for the Rebels. And then there was a conversation that was going on behind closed doors saying, well, actually, no, you're not, because if you're academically ineligible. And Jacory Croskey-Merritt is sitting there and saying, well, hold up, that's not true. Because when I played in 2019, when I was at Alabama State, I didn't play enough games. Well, that's not what we have. Here's the stat line that proves every bit of it. And you go look through the numbers. And the guys at Phoenix Sports, I want to give them a huge shout out because this is where I found the story. Make sure that when you are telling the story, you credit them. They do great work over there, both Jason and Luke. Make sure that you follow them at Wildcat Authority on 247 Sports. Anyways, so here's how the story goes. He's at Alabama State. He then goes and he transfers to New Mexico. He has one more year of eligibility, but because of the numbers say when he was at Alabama State in 2019, plus with the COVID year of eligibility, he's actually played 5 years of college football. That means you got to go to the supplemental draft. That means you can't come back. That means you can't be a part of the Wildcats or the Rebels in 2024. Well, here's the fun part. His former coach at Alabama State reportedly got on the phone with the NCAA and said, yeah, so we were actually out of jerseys, and Jacory gave his jersey to another veteran after his 4 games. And in those games, he wore his jersey, and the stat line people actually marked off Jacory Croskey-Merritt. And of course, the NCAA is rolling their eyes and saying, no, we're just trying to get the wool over us. No, we are the smartest people in college football because we know everything and we never make mistakes. Am I right? Well, the coach then actually goes through game by game and shows this is Jacory, this is somebody else. This is Jacory, this is somebody else. So he actually didn't break the rules when he was at Alabama State. He redshirted that year, which now makes him academically eligible to join any program. And it seems like right now he's not going to Ole Miss. He's staying actually to where he initially committed, and he's going to be playing for the Wildcats. There was a recent photo that was going around with one of the Wildcat coaches with him, and this was on May 24th, so like 2 or 3 days ago. That's a sign that he is probably going to be playing in Tucson this year. And I love the fit. I absolutely love the fit. This was a guy that last season at New Mexico balled the hell out. He averaged 6.3 yards per play, rushed for a little bit under 1,200 yards, 17 total touchdowns. He also added a lot of value when it came to the passing game. I think it was like 8.3 yards per play. He did a bit of everything. And this was for, again, a New Mexico team that was absolutely dreadful underneath Danny Gonzalez. Well, now he's going to a roster that feels like they have a bit of a more stable offensive line. Now he's going to an offense that features a headliner in Noah Fifita, also with T-Mac in the passing game. And they bring over Brent Breenan, who, again, if you know anything about me, I've talked highly of his regard. This feels like a dream job for him. So it's not going to be like Jed Fish leaving in the middle of the night because if he got good numbers. This is going to be a dude that actually ends up being here for the long haul. He's going to be somebody that sees the program reach its full potential, lead to fruition, and it may be just very basically Kyle Whittingham 2.0, which again is a good thing. Kyle Whittingham's been one of the best coaches in college football over the last 2 decades, and he's been one of the more underappreciated coaches, but he's really good. The reason why this is such a good move is because if you lost your running backs. You lost both of them. Jonah Coleman last year balled out. We knew that he was probably going to go ahead and follow Jedd Fisch over to Seattle, especially after losing their running back. But you also lost 4-star Jordan Washington. And that was a big, big deal. I didn't even realize that he actually left and followed Fisch as well to Seattle. But now you bring in 2 running backs. Jacory Croskey-Merritt is probably going to be one of your feature backs. But you also bring in another guy from Ole Miss and Kendrick Riscano. And anybody that knows Kendrick Riscano, they can tell you he was a potent, polished running back that just couldn't break through because Quinshawn Junkins was in the way and Ulysses Bentley was in the way. So now you get 2 Rebels for the price of 1. And lo and behold, losing Jonah Coleman, losing Jordan Washington turns into you getting 2 established guys to allow you to build your recruiting grounds past this year. And I look at this Arizona team, and I'm actually a lot higher on them than most. I will die on this take. I love the Wildcats. I love what Tucson has done for this channel. By the way, if you know any Wildcat fans out there, because there's a ton of you watching these videos, continue to tell people about it. I pick one team every year that I root for in a conference, and Arizona is the prime favorite for me in the Big 12 just because of their roster, just because of what they have. I'm excited. Because of the way that I view the Arizona Wildcats going into 2024 is like me going out with all my buddies, except for 1 or 2. 2 guys that are fun, 2 guys that I enjoy seeing, 2 guys that actually bring a lot of light into my life. But it doesn't damper my entire night. It doesn't damper the fact that I'm going to have fun with the other people out there. You lose Jedd Fisch, you lose Jonah Coleman, you lose some defensive players. Yeah, it stinks. It's awful. It's a part of the game, but it's awful. But you don't lose Noah Fifita, who in my opinion is probably going to enter this year as one of the more slept-on power forward quarterbacks. You don't lose T-Mac. In my opinion, this is a top 10 player in college football. Not top 10 wide receiver, top 10 player. You don't lose Jacob Manu. He's back leading your defense. You don't lose Decario Davis. He's back in the secondary. You don't lose Justin Blau. You don't lose Dominic Lorenzi. You don't lose Tati Uingalale. You don't lose a lot of talent. You also don't lose your co-defensive coordinator to join forces with Johnny Mason down in Austin. So you're in a really good spot right now if you're Arizona. Their schedule, it's actually pretty manageable too going into the Big 12. They kind of pulled the straws and everyone was like, I got about a medium-sized straw. Oh, I got a long straw. They got the short straw because you got games at the very beginning of the year. But one is a non-conference game against Kansas State. The other one is against Utah. And both are on the road. And what happens after that? Well, you get a bye between those games. You close out the year with matchups against West Virginia, UCF, Houston, TCU, and Arizona State. And if you want to, you can throw in BYU. What if you just split the series with those 2 teams? What if the 2 favorites in the Big 12 you go 1-1 against? And they got to play each other. They got to play a bunch of other teams. And you got Oklahoma State that you avoid, and you avoid Iowa State. That's a really good up-and-coming program led by Matt Campbell. And then you just kind of coach your way to an 11-1 finish. Well, 11-1 is going to get you to Arlington. 11-1 is going to get you to the Big 12 championship. And let's just say you drop a game to UCF. 10-2 is not taking you out of the running either. And the entire persona around this Arizona team, with now Jacory Croskey-Merritt mixed in, with now Kendrick Riscano mixed in, with still Noah Fifita, with still a very good balanced defense. Yes, you lose some pieces. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. It sucks. But you still feel pretty confident. Who's to say that you can't go to Arlington? And we all know the rule. You make it to Arlington, all bets are off. And then if you win, well, you're going to the college football playoff year 1 in the Big 12. And this whole shenanigans of, well, Utah's going to be the favorites in the Big 12 moving forward. Well, Oklahoma State's going to be the flagship in the Big 12 moving forward. Well, now you take your chair and you go from being kind of in purgatory to now Big 12 contenders. And slowly, you continue to win, you continue to build this baseline, you're going to move up to actually Big 12 flagship programs. And who would have thought after going 1-11 with Jedd Fisch and losing almost every game in the final season underneath Kevin Sumlin, this would be a reality. Welcome to college football in 2024, people, and welcome to the Arizona Wildcats, who I think are about ready to actually show the Big 12, yeah, we're good at football. Go ahead and F around and find out. But let me know in the comments section, what do you think of the Jacory Croskey-Merritt story? Do you like this for Arizona? Do you like Arizona as a sleeper in the Big 12, just in college football in general? Like, rate, review, subscribe, hit the comment section with your thoughts. Tell me what you want to talk about on this show. Make sure that also you tell your friends, family, mortal enemies, best of bros, college football fans everywhere everywhere about this channel because we're on the race to become the #1 YouTube show talking about our favorite sport, but also the #1 college football community right here on YouTube. I'm Cole Thompson. Have a happy, safe, be responsible Memorial Day weekend. I'll see you tomorrow on Monday. Later. Hey, you made it to the end of the video. That's awesome. Thank you so much. But before you leave, make sure that you hit subscribe. And if you want to check out any of our other great work, make sure you click on one of the videos here. Am I pointing at the right spot? I'm not entirely sure. I'm really not.